One of the best ways that we can get better at fishing is through journaling. As fishermen, we often think that getting better at fishing means getting new gear or working on skills, and yet something that few people actually talk about is that journaling is a way to get better at fishing. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the benefits of journaling, some tips to get started, and how this simple but profound technique can help you. So first, let me share with you some of the benefits of journaling. And these three benefits come from an article from Psychology Today. And the first benefit is that journaling allows us to gain insights, right? So if you are writing down your fishing trips, you're writing down things about your fishing experiences, naturally, as you are doing that, you will gain some insights into that trip or that type of fish or the type of rod that you're using. And one example that I have from last year is that as I was journaling about a specific pond that I like to go to, what I realized is that I had gone to that pond too late in the season, right? So as I was able to sort of think about why the fishing on that day wasn't as good, the experience of journaling allowed me to realize and to see that, hey, hitting this pond in midsummer is not ideal. And so as a result of that experience, I am now adjusting when I will go to that pond this year. The second benefit of journaling is that it allows you to make progress towards your goals. And what I mean by that is that by writing down what your fishing is like, where you're going, what you're catching, you'll be able to see how you're doing if you have set fishing goals for the year. So for example, if you wanted to go fishing 15 times this year, your journal would serve as a sort of record, allowing you to count how many times you've gone, but then also to maybe make some adjustments if, say, you realize that you're not going to hit that 15 and you need to go fishing more, which I think we'd all agree fishing more is better. The third benefit of journaling is that it increases your happiness. And when you think about this last benefit, it actually makes a lot of sense. So journaling allows us to remember and to reflect on our experiences. And so let's say that you just came back from a great fishing trip. You caught a bunch of fish, or maybe you caught some really big fish. But regardless of what made that experience good, it was really good for you. And as you are thinking about it and writing it down, you will then naturally recall those emotions that you felt. So now that I've talked to you about the benefits of journaling, I want to just give you a couple tips to get started. And the first tip is to keep it really simple. The format that you use, it doesn't have to be extensive. You're not writing essays here. You might just want to use bullet points or journal about things like the conditions, the fish that you caught, or maybe some of the challenges that you had. The second tip that I have for you is around format, and that is use a notebook and a good pen and write your experiences down by hand. Now, I know that in this day and age, it is really easy to think, well, I could just type it on a computer or I could just use an app on my phone. And while those options are available, I would really encourage you to start journaling by writing things down. And the reason for this is that when we write things by hand, there's actually some benefits to ourselves. The first is that our recall improves when we write things down. And then the second is that the insights we get from writing things down is actually greater as opposed to other forms. And those bits of information came from an article on Scientific American, which I'll link in the video description. So regardless of the method that you use, though, the real key here is keep it simple. And I think you'll find that there are a lot of benefits that you gain from journaling. One personal example for me is that when I am done fishing for the day, I will typically take a few minutes and write down about that trip in my journal. And after doing this over several months last year, what I realized is that I was using a handful of the same flies. And so this insight from the journaling allowed me to really feel more confident about the flies that I was using, as well as narrowing down the selection of flies that I had in my fly bin using a pocket size journal. This is the size that I have used for many, many years with my journaling, and I find that that size is one, easy enough that it can come with me on the water, right? It easily goes into a sling pack or in a fly vest. But secondly, using a journal that is a pocket size makes the activity feel a little less intimidating, right? Like if you were to get a notebook like this, you would think, gosh, I've got to fill all these pages, and it would feel like you're back in school again. Well, a smaller journal ultimately allows you to, one, record just enough about your fishing experiences so that you don't feel overwhelmed by the practice of journaling. The second and final tip is to make it a regular practice to journal. So whether it's as you wrap up at the end of the day, or you get home from fishing, go ahead and take a few minutes to write down about that experience. And some common things that I write down that you might want to consider, just as a bit of a framework, is one, where were you? Two, kind of what is the date or the time of year? Third, what were some of the conditions? And then fourth, what was the experience like? What flies did you use? What fish did you catch? And finally, was there anything that you would have changed about the experience? And that last category is, I think, one of the most important benefits of journaling, because frequently when we're fishing in the moment, we may be thinking, gosh, I want to change this, or gosh, I wish this was different. But unless we carry that through and we actually think about that later on, we're probably not going to actually make changes. If you do this regularly, one of the things that you'll notice is that patterns will start to emerge for you. So, for example, one of the things that I have learned over the last year of journaling is really about gear setup. So, I've made a lot of changes to my gear, and by journaling about the experiences each time, I'm able to think through and sort of process how those changes are going. And the result is that from last year to this year, my setup has really been optimized. Thank you so much for watching this video around journaling and fishing. I believe that if you take the time to journal regularly, it will help you the next time you get on the water. So today I'm going to share with you one of the tips. So there are many benefits to journaling, and the several that I'm going to share with you right now come from an article around Psychology Today.